Well, it actually goes back to the time that I spent in the military. And I remember going by a lodge in Okinawa, Japan, and I saw the square and compasses. And I wanted to know a little bit more, so I was curious. And for one reason or another, I never did check it out. And then, of course, later on in life, I believe I was about 40 years old whenever I became a Mason. I knew a gentleman that who was a past master of this lodge, but he was still current with this lodge and still living at that time. And I thought a lot of him, Brother Harold Aiken. And after seeing how Harold conducted himself, how people respected him, even though he was from just this little bitty tiny community, but there was a lot of people around Lauderdale County that knew him, and that piqued a little bit of interest in me, because we couldn't go to lunch any day where there wasn't at least 2 or 3 men coming up and shaking this man's hand and telling me, who's just a co-worker of his at the time, how much they thought of this fella and different things of that nature. And so I happened to notice one day that he was wearing square and compasses on his collar, and I asked him about it, and he gave me a little bit of information. And I told him, I said, well, how do you become a Mason? He says, you just took the first step. From that, it's kind of snowballed. And like most Masons, you come in, and it's a very daunting task. Whenever I came in, I had the fire service that I was dealing with and different things of that nature. And so it took me a little bit of time. But once I built that foundation and I actually learned what the tenets of our institution was all about, that's whenever I took off with it, more or less. And the biggest thing when men come to me and they ask me about what it's like to be a Mason and things of that nature, I'm a person just like they are. I fight fire, I enjoy doing everything that everybody else does, whether it be, boats, fishing, whatever. But there's a sense of peace that comes about whenever I come into lodge. When I come into lodge, I know I'm sitting with men that are not going to regard me on everything that I say. They're not going to judge me. Maybe I'm a little dirty because I just come from a fire. They're not going to judge me. And there's very few places that you can go that people are not going to look at you and start sizing you up, more or less, to see what it's about. But one of the greatest things that I like about Masonry is that when I know I'm talking to another Mason, he's telling me the truth. And that's what really drug me to it, because I don't like people that are dishonest. Some people will tell an untruth when the truth would fit better. And what I've experienced with Masons is that, now we're good at enlarging them stories about fishes and things just like anyone else, but whenever we're talking about something serious, whether it be a world matter, or whether it be something at the county level, or just something that's happening in between 2 family members, we're honest with one another, but we're also respectful of one another. And that's what really held me. But what really brought me into it was just a lot of admiration for Harold. And I thought, if I can be, when I'm his age, when I'm in my 60s and 70s, to have that many people to come along to spread accolades, and I already loved this man dearly at this point, but I thought, man, this fella he must have done a lot in his life. And that's what kind of drew me to Masonry to begin with.